Hello. Today we're in the fourth week of Advent. We have the 4 candles lit, and we're reading the final chapter of Ishtar's Odyssey. And today is part 5. Ishtar and Bartholomew ran out of the camp and across the valley toward Bethlehem, with Kazim close behind. There were many shepherds camped here, and the 2 boys had to weave their way around goatskin tents and corrals of sheep. And finally they climbed up the other side of the valley and onto the road just where it entered Bethlehem. As they walked into the little town, they passed a man leading a donkey. On the donkey sat a young woman, weeping softly. Ishtar could tell she would soon give birth. "Good sir," Bartholomew called to the man, "may I be of service? Your wife weeps, and it is many hours until morning. Is there a need I can meet for you?" The man stopped walking and turned back to the boys. "I fear not," he said. "My wife is in the pains of childbirth, but I can find no place for her to lay her head. I have been turned away from every inn in Bethlehem." "Surely there is at least one bed in all of Bethlehem. Would you follow me so I may search for you?" The man hesitated. Then his wife let out a little cry, and he said, Yes, we shall try again." "What are we looking for?" Ishtar asked as Bartholomew searched the town. "I will know when I find it," the other boy answered. Finally, Bartholomew let out a yell. With Ishtar on his heels, he ran up a dirt path to the wooden door of an inn and knocked. Just then the woman on the donkey cried out loudly. Ishtar ran back to her on the street and saw her husband trying to help her off the donkey. Had a roaming band of thieves been running toward him, the man could not have looked more terrified. The woman cried out again, and Ishtar saw that her feet were far from touching the ground, about the distance of Without thought and without asking, Ishtar sprang to the side of the donkey and dropped down on all fours. A moment later, the woman's feet sat down on his back. With her husband's help, she carefully stepped down to the ground. Kazim stood back in the shadows watching, and for a moment Ishtar was angry that he hadn't come to help. Then he remembered his bodyguard's words back at the Devil's Sand, and understood that to help the woman would mean letting down his guard for Ishtar. Ishtar stood and saw that Bartholomew was talking with a man at the door of the inn. "Thank you, boy," the woman said, and Ishtar thought her voice sounded like the cooing of doves. "That was an act of great kindness, and I fear I have nothing with which to repay you." Ishtar bowed. "No payment is asked or required," he said. "I gladly offer my services to one so sublime." Bartholomew ran up and said his new friend Hazra would allow the couple to sleep in his stable below the inn. "He just sent for a boy to fetch some clean hay. Can I assist you in any other way?" he asked. "You have given us much already, and we can manage from here," the man said. "Unless you happen to know where there is a midwife?" "My apologies," Bartholomew said, "but I am a visitor here myself, and I know no one in this town." "I understand. Have no concern for us. We shall be fine." "Then I will leave you with these generous people," Bartholomew answered, "as I go my own way to complete my own journey." Then he and Ishtar turned the corner and set out to search for the Messiah. "Perhaps we should look in a temple," Ishtar suggested. "That would seem a most likely place for a god to be born." "I don't think they have a temple," Bartholomew said. "The town is too small." "Well, then, where will we look?" "Nathan said it could be anywhere. We will just have to go from house to house, listening for the crying of a newborn baby." "There must be many babies here. How will we know which one?" "Oh, I will know the Messiah when I hear him," Bartholomew said. All I have to do is hear his cry, and I will know such a holy thing cannot be hidden." As the boys walked up and down the streets of Bethlehem, Kazim stepped forward and whispered in Ishtar's ear, "Perhaps the woman you helped was the woman Bartholomew seeks." "I thought of that too," Ishtar answered, "but I wish not to suggest that my friend failed to recognize the mother of his Messiah." "But we are probably walking away from that which he seeks." Ishtar shrugged. "It's his country. I must let him set the path for our feet." The boys craned their necks this way and that to listen for the cries of babies. They heard one down a little side street, and saw through a window a mother walking her baby by lamplight. "That is not him," Bartholomew said quickly. "That is not the mother of a Messiah. I can tell such things. The moment I see her, I will know she is the one," he said confidently. For several minutes they searched, reaching finally the edge of the town where many shepherds were camped in the fields below. Bartholomew saw several standing around a fire near a tall tree, and then froze in fear. "Ishtar," he hissed, "we must leave this place." Ishtar started to protest, but Bartholomew clamped his hand over his friend's mouth. "That man is Decca of Megiddo," he whispered. Memories of Decca chasing him through the tunnels slithered up Ishtar's spine. "Surely he will kill me if he sees me," he thought. Then he looked to make sure that Kazim was close by. Think about this. Bartholomew is certain he will recognize Jesus the moment he sees the child's parents, but then he doesn't. Do you think that ever happens to us? Do you think God ever sends people to show us Jesus, and we don't recognize that blessing?